We begin with Jai Radha Madhava. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanacha Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanacha Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanacha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranita Jai Gauranita Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jayo Radhe Sham Jayo Radhe Sham Jayo Radhe Sham Jayo Radhe Sham Radhe Sham Jayo Radhe Sham Radhe Sham Jayo Radhe Sham Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Hare Krishna So thank you very much, Subal Prabhu, for giving me this opportunity
Prabhu, if you can
to.
give me just one moment to introduce
Yeah.
yourself.
All
Prior to that, Rao Prabhu, will you be able to share the screen? Verse number 17, chapter 2,
Ah, sh-
Canto
sure,
3.
Prabhu.
So, by the time Prabhu comes back, um, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce His Grace Vrajajana Nanda Prabhu, one of the very senior devotees in Dubai ISKCON. And he has been serving the yatra for more than 2 decades in various capacities, and a fantastic devotee in terms of application of Shastra, his behavior, his knowledge of Shastra, and the relationship, especially that he maintains with all devotees. A very wonderful devotee, somebody whose company everybody likes to have. And whatever topic of discussion is, when Vraja enters that discussion, it automatically becomes a jovial discussion. So that's why everybody likes to have Vraja in the discussion. So may it be Bhagavad Gita, may it be Srimad Bhagavatam, may it be any other scripture. If you want to develop a better taste of devotion, we should hear it from Vrajajana Nanda. So thank you, Prabhu, for coming over, and it's a fortune to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well, Subal Prabhu, I would say. Yeah, firstly, thank you for inviting me for your wonderful program that you conduct, and you try to help devotees to become better devotees by having weekly classes. And it's my fortune that I got this opportunity to do some service with Srimad Bhagavatam. And in terms of your introduction, what to do? I mean, we just try to do what we've heard from senior Vaishnavas, and whatever little quality might probably be there, we just try to utilize that in Krishna service. So at times, if make someone laugh or make things lighter, then I kind of feel it's always good to be friends, and try to go along, and why not with some humor? Why not? Not that I am good at it, but sometimes Krishna gives some statements, we speak about it, and then we have a nice laughter. So thank you for for inviting me, and thank you for all for joining in this morning Saturday program. And today we've got these wonderful verses that you can see on the screen. That is the beginning from 17, third canto, second verse, 17 verse onwards till 22nd. And Prabhu said that you need to give, it's an hour and a half class. I was like, my God, an hour and a half. And to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam, you need to have a lot of knowledge. So I said, I'll try to see what I can do in terms of what I've heard. And in case we fall short in terms of the timing, we can then probably have some few minutes of question answers to try and see how we could then, completely manage the day. So without wasting much time, let's go ahead and dive into the verse of text 17. So before that, I think we all know what you're supposed to do. So we'll all sit straight and pray to the Lord. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Nashtapraishu Padreshu Nityam Bhagavat Seya Bhagavatrittama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtuti. So the verse is text 17. Dunoti cheta sparato mamaita yadaha pada abhivandya pitroho tatambakam sad urusankitanam prasidatam no kritanishkritinam. So I'll read just this first verse and then the 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, we will just do the translation and purport. So the purports are a little long, so we'll try to see where we can squeeze it. I'll read the first purport and the translation purport of the first verse, and wherever possible during the class, we will try to touch base on some important points of the following verses. So,
Prabhu,
Prabhu, can you go down? Yes, yeah.
Prabhu, devotees would prefer to read the translation and the purport, if you can
Oh,
allow.
great. Oh, sure. Why not? Okay. Okay. So, okay, let's go ahead with translation. Who would want to read the translation of the
I will.
first?
I'll do that, Prabhu.
Sure.
Hare Krishna. Lord Krishna begged pardon from his parents for their Krishna and Balram inability to serve their feet due to being away from home because of great fear of Kamsa. He said, O mother, O father, please excuse us from this inability. All this behavior of the Lord gives me pain at heart. Purport Prabhu. It appears that Lord Krishna and Baldev were both very greatly afraid of Kamsa and therefore they had to hide themselves. But if Lord Krishna and Baldev are the supreme personality of the Godhead, how was it possible that they were afraid of Kamsa? Is there any contradiction in such statements? Vasudev, due to his great appreciation for Krishna, wanted to give him protection. He never thought that Krishna was the supreme Lord and could protect himself. He thought of Krishna as his son because Vasudev was a great devotee of the Lord and he did not like to think that Krishna might be killed like the other children. Morally, Vasudev was bound to deliver Krishna to the hands of Kamsa because he had promised to turn over all his children. But out of his great love for Krishna, he broke his promise, and the Lord was very pleased with Vasudev for his transcendental mentality. He did not want to disturb the intense affection of Vasudev, and thus he agreed to be carried by his father to the house of Nanda and Yashoda. And just to test the intense love of Vasudev, Lord Krishna fell down in the waters of the Yamuna while his father was crossing the river. Vasudev became mad after his child as he tried to recover him in the midst of the rising river. These are all glorified pastimes of the Lord, and there is no contradiction in such manifestations. Since Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he was never afraid of Kamsa, but to please his father, he agreed to be so. And the most brilliant part of his supreme character was that he begged pardon from his parents for being unable to serve their feet while absent from home because of the fear of Kamsa. The Lord, whose lotus feet are worshipped by demigods like Brahma and Shiva, wanted to worship the feet of Vasudev. Such instruction by the Lord to the world is quite appropriate. Even if one is the Supreme Lord, one must serve his parents. His son is indebted to his parents in so many ways that it is the duty of the son to serve his parents, however great the son may be. Indirectly, Krishna wanted to teach the atheists who do not accept the supreme fatherhood of the God, and they may learn from this action how much the supreme father has to be respected. Uddhav was simply struck with wonder by such glorious behavior of the Lord, and he was very sorry that he was unable to go with him. Hare Krishna.
Great. Thank you, Sushil Prabhu. So we will speak something on this by Krishna's mercy. So we will now pray to our acharyas. So Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ratnatamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopeshu Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Bhakta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpataruscha Kripa Sindhu Devicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vinodaya Swaminiti Namane. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vinodaya Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripata mahamande Shri Guru Dinatayina Paramananda Madhvam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Ananda Leela Maya Vigrahaya Himanga Divyacha Visundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasapradaya Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Hare Krishna. So in this verse, as in the final sentence, Uddhava is Adbhutam, he is astonished to see this wonderful behavior of Krishna, specifically for the Supreme Lord to come down and to beg forgiveness and pardon from his parents Vasudeva and Devaki, that he was unable to serve them. And that when he was born, he was immediately taken by Vasudeva out of his parental affection, in fear that Kamsa might kill Krishna. So there was this mood and bhav of parental love for Krishna that Vasudeva had. And it was based on love, of course, and he wanted to protect the Lord. So here, as in the purport, it mentions that it appears that Lord Krishna and Baldev were both very greatly afraid of Kamsa. So Krishna, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fear personification gets feared by the Lord. So how is it possible that the Lord will ever have fear? The Lord will never have fear. In fact, the fear personified is fear of Krishna. And Krishna, in this pastime, this understanding of Krishna's personality is being discussed by Uddhava with Vidura. Now, Uddhava, they are all Rasika Bhaktas. So the discussion between Vidura and Uddhava in terms of Krishna's personality and not just being the Supreme Personality of God, being the Supreme Person, how his emotions overtake his position. This is what is the discussion between these beautiful Rasika Bhaktas of Vidura and Uddhava, specifically with Uddhava being so much in love with Krishna. Vidura also has a discussion later on in Srimad Bhagavatam with Maitreya. Now, Maitreya is not as a Rasika Bhakta as Uddhava. So the discussions between Maitreya and Vidura are generally on analysis basis, like on tattva, which is more on the philosophical side. But here it is more on ras, on mellow. And that is why it is so very interesting. What's the interesting part? The interesting part is that Krishna and Vasudeva increased Vasudeva's love for him, his parental love, through various incidences, as it is mentioned here in the purport. Specifically, after Krishna was born, when Krishna was taken by Vasudeva towards Nanda Baba Gokul, so he had to pass through Yamuna. And there, if you could see that it is mentioned in the purport that Krishna fell down in Yamuna. And Yamuna wanted to actually have Krishna's association. So she, in ecstasy, lifted herself. And because of which Krishna slipped from Vasudev's hand. And because Vasudeva had so much of love for Krishna, he became mad that, that Krishna fell down and he was not able to, he became kind of very disturbed. And this is what generally happens. So when you like something, and if that something gets misplaced, you get really mad. For instance, for many of us in the fact, it's our car keys. Our car keys are very dear to us, because for everything that we need to do in Dubai, we need to move around. So sometimes the car keys are not there. You get a little disturbed. So I'm not comparing, but I'm just giving you a little bit of glimpse of how when we like certain things and when it is not there with us, we get mad. So similarly, Vasudeva, so much of love for Krishna out of parental affection. And that parental affection is about protecting the Lord from Kamsa. So this fear that Vasudeva had is Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam. Was Kamsa not fearful about Krishna? Very much he was fearful. That's why he wanted to kill Krishna. He didn't want to die, so he had this fear. But this is Pratikul. He's also thinking of Krishna. He's also Krishna consciousness. But that Krishna consciousness is not favorable Krishna consciousness. That is why it is called Pratikul. Pratikula Varjanam. Such thought process should be Varjanam, should be completely given up. And Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam. And this Anukul Bhav, what is that Anukul Bhav? What Vasudeva is showing. Vasudeva is trying to serve Krishna, protect Krishna. And this way, Krishna, as it is mentioned in the purport, increased Vasudeva's love for Vasudeva's love. Sorry, just a second. Sorry, our devotee cook is here, so he's making prasadam, so he just asked me. I'm so sorry. So he was increasing Vasudeva's love for Krishna, and that is what Krishna does with his devotees. His position is not so very important in comparison with his devotees. In fact, his position is almost not there, specifically in the pastimes of Vrindavan, if you see. No one knows Krishna as being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you talk of the Sakharas, his friends, when they play around with Krishna, they think that he's just one of us. So similarly with the Nanda Baba and Yashoda, they think of Krishna as their children. They don't think of Krishna as being the Supreme Person. So this ras is very much there in Vrindavan. And this is what exactly Krishna likes to reciprocate with his devotees. So here also, he reciprocated by increasing Vasudeva's love and anxiety for Krishna. After that, after he was dropped to Nand Baba's house in Yashoda Mai, he couldn't get a chance to serve his parents. So when Kamsa then sent all demons, and then Krishna finally killed many of these demons, then finally Krishna, when Akrura was sent to bring Krishna to Mathura, so Krishna came to Mathura, and then Krishna, then you know what he did. He killed these elephants, then he killed those two wrestlers, Chanura and Mushtika, and after that, Kans, who was standing up, seeing what's happening, his chance was also going to come, and then Krishna went, and then Krishna finished him. So after Krishna finished him, Devaki and Vasudeva were like folded hands, and they were like praying to Krishna. And this is when Krishna and Balram, they approached Vasudeva and Devaki. And this is where they were telling to Vasudeva and Devaki that I couldn't serve you. Please pardon us. And this thought that Uddhava is thinking, that how Krishna, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everyone's worshipping Krishna. Your Krishna is coming and giving so much of love and so much of respect to his parents and asking for forgiveness. And this is some lessons that we have to learn. if we read the purport, the second part, it says that how Krishna is showing the example that how we must serve our parents. We are always indebted to our parents, no matter what our position is. The position of us in comparison with our parents is that we are always indebted to them. And no matter how much we serve them, physically, mentally, spiritually, we can never repay the debt. So Krishna is explaining that how we must take care of our parents. Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the Jagat Pate. He is Pitaham Yasya Jagato Mata Da. He is the grandfather, he is the father, he is the mother, he is everything of this entire creation. So Krishna is giving us an example of how much we should serve our parents. And this is exactly the meaning of the word putra. Putra or putri means actually pa and tra. Putra comes from the word pa and tra. Tra means trayate and pa means the planetary systems. Specifically lower planetary systems or madhyama or even the above planetary systems. All of these planetary systems, if the jiva is having a body, which means punarapi janam, punarapi marana takes place. Which means you have to again take birth. Whether you are in Brahma Bhuvana Loka, Punaravartino Arjuna. So even if you're going to the Brahma Loka, you have to Punaravartino Arjuna. Similarly with lower planetary systems. When you're lower, then again there is a process of again elevation. But the point here is, we don't have to be stuck here. We have to come up. So, whether you are in the upper, middle, or in the lower planetary systems, the children have a great responsibility to deliver their parents and their forefathers. So that is why the word putra comes in. Pu, pa, and tra. Tra means trayate, one who delivers his parents, one who delivers his ancestors. So how do you do that? That is only possible by Mukunda, by Krishna. Krishna's another name is Mukunda. So how is it possible? Only when we actually become devotees of the Lord. Specifically when we become devotees of the Lord. I remember there was this lecture many, many years back by Parmeshwar Prabhu when he spoke about parents. And at that time, my parents were no more because my parents died young. I just joined Krishna consciousness in 99, 2000, and dad passed away 2000, mom passed away 2001. So I was not able to actually serve them after coming to Krishna consciousness. Because once you come to Krishna consciousness, you start really valuing your parents. Not that you don't value them, of course you value them, but with knowledge, with how much, and when we see these pastimes of how Krishna is taking care of his parents, whatever our position is, it doesn't really matter. We have to serve them. So, this I missed. So when I heard the lecture of Parmeshwar Prabhu, he was saying that how much we are indebted to them. And it is said that if you don't actually serve your parents, if you don't serve your old grandparents, if you don't serve your spiritual master, if you don't serve your dependents, then what is it? You're just breathing like the bellows of the blacksmith. You've seen the bellows of a blacksmith. The air is sucked in and then air is blown out. Air is sucked in and air is blown out. So this is just like our lungs. Our lungs are just blowing, are receiving air and blowing out air, receiving air, blowing out air. So if we are actually just doing this, breathing out, and not serving our parents in the right possible way, then we are just breathing like the bellows of a blacksmith. So we have to be very careful. So here, another aspect is that we have to serve our parents. No doubt, we have to. But what about the Supreme Parent? And that is a very important point. And who is the Supreme Parent? The Supreme Parent is one who never changes. Our parents, we keep changing with so many words that you have taken. We've had so many parents. But Krishna is that one parent who does not change. He is always our father eternally. Aham bij padapitaha, he says to Arjuna. Kaunteya pratijanihi. No, he says that Sarva yoneshu kaunteya sambhavanti muktaya tasam brahma mahadyonir aham bij padapitaha. So he says Sarva yoni, all the 84 lakh yonias, the different species of life. Who is the father? Who is the seed giving father? Krishna. Pitaham yasya jagato. I am the Pitamaha, I am the grandsire, I am the mother. That's why in Marathi, Panduranga, Vitthal, by Tukaram, he calls Mauli. Mauli means mother. So he calls the Lord Mauli, oh my mother. Yes, Krishna's mother also, Krishna's father also, Krishna's grandfather also, Krishna's everything. So he is always in that position. And our position is that we are always his eternal fragmental parts. Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. And eternally we are connected with Krishna. So just like how we have to serve our parents physically, we have to serve our parents spiritually. That's the most important. To somehow or the other, give them Krishna consciousness. If they are not able to take Krishna consciousness, doesn't matter. Through other ways, we try and help them become Krishna conscious. I still remember my wife's father. My wife's father was completely pratikul. He always kept blaming Krishna for whatever issues were there. And he said, Krishna is the cause. And he was right in Tattva. Krishna is the cause of all causes. So he was saying, disturbance in families also, Krishna is the cause. So he used to say this, and he was right. But he used to say it with anger, and he never liked it. Them being Krishna consciousness. So what they used to do is, it's not that they used to not then give Krishna consciousness. They used to give Krishna consciousness in different capsules to their father. Like, for instance, bring Mahaprasad Sandesh from Giriraj, a beautiful temple in Kazakhstan. Giriraj Maharaj is there. So there the sweets are so wonderful. It's called Giriraj sweets. So they used to bring Giriraj sweets. They used to bring Charanamrit. So this way they used to try and give some Krishna consciousness dosage to their parents. So we have to somehow serve parents. Even from the example of Prahlad Maharaj, when Hiranyakashipu, such a great demon, who tried to kill Prahlad. But was Prahlad disrespectful to his parents? Not at all. He was very respectful. In fact, when he used to come and meet Hiranyakashipu, who was trying to kill him, still he would pay his obeisances to him, with a lot of affection. So this is how we should behave. Maybe your parents will not accept Krishna. They'll say, Bacha, yaar, like my dad used to say, what, you went to the Middle East and now you're trying to bring this, don't eat meat and all this. You don't want to eat, you don't eat, but don't force your sister not to eat, something like this. So he used to keep telling, doesn't matter. We take it with respect. We don't have philosophical discussions to try and argue with him so that he does more offense. But somehow or the other, give Mahaprasad, take them to Vrindavan, take them to some programs if they like music and all that. So this way, how is what you should try and serve the parents. So from this, we learn that we have to take care of parents. Second is, whatever our position is, it doesn't really matter. We have to be humble. And this is a learning. Krishna is the supreme person, but still he's taking the menial position as being the son of his parents and trying to serve them. So this is how it should be. So our positions really don't matter. Whatever we are in our society, we should be very humble. Always we should be humble. And that humility comes when we tolerate different situations in life. Before we can become humble, like one devotee was saying, that we should learn to be tolerant. Very difficult. Someone says something to you, it's very, very difficult to tolerate. That because our ego is very strong. So where is the question of humility then? Many a times, devotees will say when we have to give class that, oh, he's such a humble devotee. Oh, it's not humble, Baba. So nice, so humble devotee. And then sometimes I would say, oh, please don't say this. You please ask my wife. Because I stay with my wife all the time, most of the time. So she knows how I am. So there is no need to, artificially, uh, externally, humble doesn't mean external humility. Humility must be realized. And that realization comes when we know that who we are, specifically in terms with Krishna, in terms of connection with Krishna, that we are really insignificant. We are really Anu. Really, we are Anu. We are not anybody special. So this is a learning that we should have. Let's go to text 18. And let's go to the translation straight, Prabhu. And which devotee would like to read the translation and a small purport?
Hare Krishna. Translation.
Yes.
Who, after smelling the dust of his lotus feet even once, could ever forget it? Simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrows, Krishna has given the death blow to those who were burdening the earth. Purport. Lord Krishna cannot be accepted as one of the human beings, even though he played the role of an obedient son. His actions were so extraordinary that by the simple raising of his eyebrows, he could deliver death blows to those who were burdening the earth.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, K.S. Rao Prabhu. Yes, so here Uddhava is again giving this point here that with the expanding the leaves of his eyebrows. Now, this is very interesting. What is the leaves of the eyebrows? This is actually a direct Bengali translation of Srila Prabhupada, of Srila Prabhupada's mention about eyebrows, which are very long and very beautiful. So when you do a Bengali translation of that, then it is mentioned as leaves of the eyebrows. So that's the Varnak translation of the Bengali verse that Srila Prabhupada is mentioned over here, which actually means that Krishna's eyebrows are very beautiful, and it also shows a sign of power, a symbol of power. That just by, in the Srimad Bhagavatam also in various places it is mentioned that how just by twitching of the eyebrows, one is showcasing one's power. Specifically in this case, when Uddhava is glorifying, that by his expanding the leaves of his eye, Krishna has given death blows to those who are burdening the earth, which means that all the demons that came to kill Krishna, Krishna immediately finished them all. So in one word, it was mentioned that just by the leaves of the eyebrows, he was able to finish all of them without much more detailed explanation. Similarly, in Srimad Bhagavatam, certain areas like Hiranyakashipu, the great demon, it is mentioned in the 7th canto also. He also used to raise his eyebrows, which was actually symbol of power. Where in order, if he had to get something done, he would just raise the eyebrow. And then something would have to be, the demigods would then have to follow suit. Because he was the boss of the three worlds. So that way he used to, twitch his eyebrows to show his power. So here it is mentioned that how Krishna, and the purport says very clearly that Krishna cannot be accepted as an ordinary human being. In the Bhagavad Gita also, as you know, that it is mentioned, Avajananti ma mudha manusham tanum ashritam. Someone who thinks Krishna is just being a mere human being is avajananti. He doesn't know in truth. So people who don't know in truth will then regard Krishna as just a mere human being. And when Srimad Bhagavatam is being spoken by Sukdev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, and in the assembly of so many great personalities, it's not that all of them were great devotees of the Lord. There were some who were also in having different levels of spiritual realization. Some at the beginning level, some at the Brahma Jyoti level. So many of them also, when these points are being discussed about Krishna being just behaving like an ordinary human being, it is bewildering to them also, in the sense that they are in this concept that Krishna is just an ordinary human being. So when these pastimes are discussed, they also fall for the same. But when tattva is given, then their realization improves. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is for Nirmat Saranam Satam, for one who is completely pure. But also Srimad Bhagavatam helps those who are not Rasika Bhaktas or Bhaktas who are worshipping the personal form of the Lord. But somehow or the other, by the association and by rendering and hearing of these pastimes regularly and these extraordinary pastimes of the Lord, then they slowly, their mentality also changes. From understanding that Krishna is not just a human being, but he is the Supreme Personality of God. So here Uddhava is mentioning that how Krishna finished off many of these demons who Kamsa had sent, and just establishing Krishna's position as being the Supreme Personality. So this is in text 18. Let's go to text 19.
Prabhu, do you recollect any example of this where Krishna has done like that? Or maybe this statement is very important, but any example, any demon killed like that?
Killed by Krishna?
Yeah.
So many of them. I mean, say, let's take the example of Putana. You know Putana? She came dressed as a wonderful gopi. When Krishna was born at Yashoda's place, there was this wonderful festival that Nanda Baba was giving. And she came. But how she came, in what mood she came? She came with the mood that she wanted to kill Krishna. And she, in her breast, she put a lot of these poison to try and kill Krishna. And what did Krishna do? Krishna accepted the mood of what Putana came to kill Krishna. But in the bargain, her life air was sucked by Krishna. And what did Krishna do in return to her? Krishna gave her the highest position of a nurse in the spiritual world, Dhatri in the spiritual world. So like this one pastime. Then you also have this pastime of the Dhenukasur, the donkey demon. In this Talwan, there was this Vana where there was a lot of these tal trees, date palm trees, which is so tasty. And this Dhenukasur, he was like, guarding this beautiful Bhagavatam. So just as Krishna killed, Balram also wanted to kill. So all the children, they went there and then they started disturbing the whole place. Dhenukasur got angry and he came. And then immediately Krishna and Balram, they killed Dhenuka and many of these demons. So like that, so many other demons also that the wind demon. What is the wind demon name? Anyone remember? The wind demon.
Trinavat.
Trinavat, yes.
Trinas.
Yes, Trinavat. So he also came. So he came and he also tried to kill Krishna. In fact, Yashoda Mai was holding Krishna. And Krishna knew that this rascal demon is going to come. So Krishna became very heavy. And then Yashoda Mai could not whole Krishna. So she put Krishna down and then she went inside to do her some work. And then Trinavarta came and Krishna was welcoming him, please come. And then he came and he took Krishna and then Krishna, he took him right so high. And then finally Krishna became heavy, heavy, heavy. The guy couldn't hold himself. And then he caught his neck and he killed him. Finished Trinavarta. Like that, the horse demon also, what is it called? Keshi. Keshi also. Keshi was also killed. And Krishna put his hand inside the Keshi's mouth. And it was hot like iron and finished his life. So like that, so many demons that comes are kept on sending. And Krishna, one by one, started finishing them. In that, Prabhupada very clearly and nicely mentions that how Krishna, Krishna is God, not that he becomes God. He is God from the very beginning. So as a small child also, he is God. And when he's growing also in different age groups, he's still God. It's not that he's become God. So in that small age, he could finish off these demons, like so many of these demons that we just mentioned about. So is it okay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, I think his question was about just by raising the eyebrows, he could deliver death blows.
Yes, Prabhu.
Correct.
So do we have example of such a scenario? I think that is what his question is, if I understand correctly.
Yes, Prabhu. Exactly, I mean.
No, here it is when I tried to search that did Krishna kill any of the demons by raising his eyebrows, I couldn't find any reference. And then I was reading this Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's The Spiritual Scientist, where he mentions this point that the raising of the eyebrows is actually a symbol of power. It's not that by raising his eyebrows he killed some demon. You getting that point?
Okay.
Yeah, so it is a symbol of power. Because I tried to find out what is this, did Krishna actually, with his eyebrows, did he kill any of the demons? No, he didn't. He didn't.
Okay.
It is a symbol of power, okay? All right. So text 19, let's go. Who will read the translation?
Prabhuji.
Yes.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. You have personally seen how the king of Kedi, Sisupala, achieved success in yoga practice, although he hated Lord Krishna. Even the actual yogis aspire after such success with great interest by performance of their various practices. Who can tolerate separation from him? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna causeless mercy was exhibited in the great assembly of Maharaja Yudhishthira. He was merciful even to his enemy, the king of Kedi, who always tried to be an envious rival of the Lord. Because it is not possible to be a bona fide rival of the Lord, the king of Kedi was extremely malicious towards Lord Krishna. In this, he was like many other asuras, such as Kamsa and Jarsananda. In the open assembly of Rajasuya sacrifice performed by Maharaja Yudhishthira, Shishupala insulted Lord Krishna and he was finally killed by the Lord. But it was seen by everyone in the assembly that a light flashed out of the body of the king of Kedi and merged into the body of Lord Krishna. This means that Kediraj achieved the salvation of attaining oneness with the Supreme, which is a perfection most desired by the Jnanis and Yogis, and for which they executed their different types of transcendental activities. It is a fact that persons who are trying to understand the supreme truth by their personal endeavors of mental speculations or mystic powers of yoga achieve the same goal as others who are personally killed by the Lord. Both achieve the salvation of merging into the Brahma Jyoti, rays of the transcendental body of the Lord. The Lord was merciful even to his enemy, and the success of the king of Kedi was observed by everyone who was present in the assembly. Vidura was also present there, and therefore Uddhava referred the incident to his memory. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Uday Prabhu. Yes. So here it's talked about Shishupal. Shishupal, right from his birth, he very ugly child he was. He had also one eye which was there on his forehead, and it looked very, very ugly. So the mother of Shishupal actually was very concerned about this thing, and wanted this, this third eye which was there, which looked very ugly on him, wanted to somehow take it off. She heard the Akashvani that someone who is able to, when you give the child to somebody, and immediately when the child's eyes, the third eye will disappear, that, from that you will understand that he's relieved of that ugliness, but at the same time, that person will also be the cause of his death. So she heard this, but she was very much interested to try and remove the third eye. So she kept on bringing Shishupal to various residences, various people within the family. And because Krishna also was related, so she brought the child Shishupal to Krishna. And as soon as Krishna took the child, the third eye vanished. So she was very happy that, oh, the third eye is gone. But at the same time, she was worried now that Krishna will be the cause. So she said to Krishna, Krishna, please, forgive my child. You're very kind. So Krishna said, no problem. I will forgive him 100 times. So the 101st time, if he again does it, then don't blame me. And this is what happened, mentioned in the prophet, that how Shishupal in the Rajasuya sacrifice, when Krishna was being made the main person, the most exalted person amongst all of them, the entire Kuru dynasty, Krishna was being asked to be the main person in the Rajasuya sacrifice. Shishupal got very angry, and Shishupal started blaspheming, started talking all wrong things, that he is a coward boy, he's just a person who is just roaming with cows, and how is it that he can sit on this amongst so many of our kings, we are kings, and such. He was talking a very he's a debauchee, he is this and that. So there were many wrong things that Shishupal was telling, and Krishna was smiling. Krishna is always smiling. There's in Srimad Bhagavatam it is mentioned, Smayamanam abhidhyayet sa anuragavalokanam. Smayamanam abhidhyayet. Abhidhya means dhyan. One should meditate always that Krishna is always smiling. So in the whole assembly, Shishupal was angry, and Shishupal was talking of all this nonsense. And Bhim was actually spurting in anger. Anger was so much that he actually wanted to go and finish it, but he couldn't, because he was obedient to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Till Yudhishthira Maharaj doesn't say anything, people not do anything. So such was the very nice relationship. And Krishna was smiling when, after 100 blasphemies, then Krishna immediately from his hand, the Sudarshan Chakra went and killed Shishupal. And there, everyone in the assembly were aghast to see that, wow, what happened? This light, or the living, or the spark, the soul went and merged with Krishna. And here Prabhupada then gives the tattva behind this. And this is exactly why commentaries are important. Commentaries are important because the acharyas give explanation of the situation, what has happened and what we can learn from it. Because many a times we make mistakes, and this is why it is said, Dharmasya tattvam vihitam guhaya. That Dharma tattva is vihitam guhaya. Guhaya means secret. We are not able to understand, but we are able to understand when it's opened by the merciful acharyas. And this is the reason why we have to pray to the acharyas to say, oh, Krishna's wonderful devotees, please, acharyas, give me mercy. And this is why it is so important to be connected with the parampara system. Our progress in spiritual life comes when we connect ourselves with the parampara system. Just by the touch of being in presence of the parampara system, there is great benefit that we receive just by being connected. And what is the greatest benefit? That we understand things in a very clear perspective. There is no confusion whatsoever. Because if we see, the Sanatanis are the most confused lot. I mean, we are so confused. We don't read the scriptures. Even if we try to read the scriptures, we don't understand. And then there are so many such leaders in society who also are bewildered and then bewilder the others, just like it is mentioned in by Prahlad Maharaj. Nati vidhu swartha gatim hi Vishnu durashaya hi bhirarthamanina andha yatha andher upagiyamanas trepita tantra urudhamni paddaha. What is the meaning of this? Nate vidhu swartha gatim hi Vishnu. They don't know that the goal of life is Vishnu. Nati vidhu swartha gatim. Why? Durasaya hi bahirarthamanina. Because they give more importance to sense gratification, material sense gratification. Not that there is no spiritual sense gratification. Please understand that spiritual sense gratification is there. Otherwise, we would be dry. Krishna consciousness would be dry. There would be no ras. So, sense gratification is not wrong. Spiritual sense gratification is what is needed. So, material sense gratification is andha yata andher. People who are blind. And then such blind leaders will have blind followers. And what happens to blind people? If you follow blind people, you will follow and you will fall. If they fall down, you will also fall down. Like it is said, they fall down in a ditch because they don't know what's in front of them. And then you also follow suit. So, yatha andher, upagiyamanas, tepita tantra ududhamni paddaha. And then because of they are within the three modes of nature, sattva, rajas, and tamas. So all their activities are governed and influenced basis these three modes. And then what happens? They are continuously punarapi jannam, punarapi maranam in this material world. So here what happened? What did Krishna do? Krishna gave the benediction to Shishupal. And what is that benediction? That he got Sayuja Mukti. What is that Sayuja Mukti? Oneness with the Supreme Lord in terms of the Brahma Jyoti aspect of the Lord, where one becomes, where one doesn't lose his individuality, he merges with the Brahma Jyoti, but after some time, if he doesn't engage himself in Krishna's service, then what happens? Patanti adaha. He will again fall down into this material world. So, one should not just be happy with merging with the Supreme Lord, but rather merging with the purpose of what the Supreme Lord wants us to do. Specifically, if we see Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna had his own set of rules and own set of thought process. Why he didn't want to fight the war. But as long as he was in his own thought process, he was bewildered, he was sad, he was crying, he didn't know what to do. As soon as he surrendered to Krishna and made Krishna's will his will, then everything became perfect. So similarly, merging, like one devotee asked that What is merging? यानी भगवान के साथ परमात्मा के साथ लीन होना चाहिए. We should lean with Paramatma. What does it mean? So devotee gave a very nice answer. He said, what does lean mean? Lean means to be with the purpose of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is the purpose that Krishna wants? And that is real Krishna consciousness. So Arjuna had his own thought process, but then when he made his thought process in connection with Krishna, this is called, merging with the purpose of Krishna. Just like, for instance, we are working in our office. We are also in line with what? Line with the purpose and objectives that the company has set. So, in other words, every one of us is merged with the purpose of the company. Similarly, we have to merge with the purpose of the Supreme Lord. And what is that purpose? Is to use the instructions of what Krishna has given in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam to please Krishna, to please his devotees. When we do this, then that is called real merging, and not being just this Sayuja Mukti of being oneness in Brahma Jyoti. And then finally, what happens? Finally, in Brahma Jyoti, we are so active, we are supposed to do some seva. We seva hi nahi, then there is no seva, what you do? Then patati, patanti adaha, you will fall down. So this we should be careful. So it's 11:10 anyway, another few more minutes. Let's do 20, 21 and 22. Someone with 20?
Hare Krishna, translation.
Yes.
Certainly, others who were fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified by the onslaught of Arjuna's arrows, and while seeing the lotus-like face of Krishna, so pleasing to the eyes, they achieved the abode of the Lord.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rao Prabhu. Since the time is short, we'll just touch base on few of the translations in this verse and the next and the following verse. Just go to the translation, not the purport, just the translation. This is a very important verse because many of us may have this question: what happened to all the warriors in Kurukshetra? What happened to them? Where did they go? So Mahabharata gives a very different thought process, and Srimad Bhagavatam in this verse gives a very different thought process. And what's that thought process? It says that certainly others who were fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were purified by the onslaught of Krishna, Arjuna's arrows. By Arjuna's arrows, they were purified. And while seeing the lotus face of Krishna, so pleasing, they achieved the abode of the Lord. So this is the greatest benefit that all of the warriors had when they actually were there in presence of Krishna. That just by seeing the lotus face of the Lord, they went back home, back to God. And the ones who were inimical to Krishna, just like Shishupal, if you are inimical and still then you die in presence of Krishna, then you don't get the same abode as how the others have got, because they were not inimical to Krishna. So this is the understanding that we should have. So when this thought process is that what happened to the Kurukshetra war and what happened to many of them who saw Krishna favorably, that beautiful smiling face of Krishna, they went back home, back to God. And those who didn't, they did not go back home, back to God. So that's the understanding. Hare Krishna. You have any questions on this?
You have rightly clarified, Prabhu, because we were thinking it was only by seeing Krishna, they were purified, but that is very important what you have explained, that it is the bows of the Arjun which made them purified, and seeing Krishna made them go back to the abode of the Lord.
Yeah, and being non-inimical. If you think like how Shishupal was thinking that this covered boy in being inimical, then of course naturally you will not be going back home, back to Godhead. At the most, you will get Sayuja Mukti, merging, and then you will again have to fall down unless and until you don't do bhakti. Hare Krishna. So,
Prabhu,
I don't know yeah, sorry.
Prabhu, one question. So,
Yeah.
I understand the viewpoint that Arjuna's arrows will act as some kind of purification of the sins that they had committed, and by seeing Krishna, they'll be able to go back to Krishna. But
Mhm.
does this kind of approach, or does this result not indicate that a person then does not require any kind of performance of bhakti, and still abhaktas can also go to him?
Yeah, in a sense, it might it can appear like this, but as we know that the Kurukshetra war that happened, Krishna was personally present. Uh, so when it's mentioned here that Arjuna with his arrow he purified them, uh, just by being present there in front of Krishna, I mean, that this is some great fortune that that jiva was specifically present when Krishna was there. So, you know, you could probably say that they have that benefit of doubt that they were present when Krishna was there, and then finally they did not have to do much of seva, and just by being there and just by seeing Krishna smiling and just thinking about Krishna, they went back home, back to Godhead. But unfortunate for all of us who are at this present age, uh, our fortune is there in terms with Lord Chaitanya, of how amazingly Lord Chaitanya has given us this chanting process. Without this chanting process, it was very difficult for all of us to even progress in whatever bhakti we are doing at the moment. Very, very difficult. So that way we can see that by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, our devotional service, by the chanting and process, that he is able to give us that mercy which many of the devotees present in front of Krishna received it. But it doesn't mean that we can just not do anything. We are supposed to do our bhakti process given by Lord Chaitanya, which is the most easiest form of worship in the age of Kali, is by chanting the holy names of the Lord. So I don't know if I'm able to have touch base to your question.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. It makes sense, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So let's do 21 and 22. We have 15 minutes. In that between, if there are any questions and answers, why not? Let's take it. So let's go to 21.
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Translated by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna is the Lord of all kinds of threes and independently supreme by achievement of all kinds of fortune. He is worshipped by the eternal maintainers of the creation, who offer him the paraphernalia of worship by touching their millions of helmets to his feet. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So here again, Uddhava is glorifying that how he is the Lord of the threes. Now, threes would mean the three planetary systems. The threes also means the three energies of the Lord, the Tatastha Shakti, the Bhairanga Shakti, and the Andarakka Shakti. So he is the Lord of all. And he is independently supreme by achievement of all kinds of fortune. And he is independently supreme. He's not dependent on all of this. He is independently supreme of all of this. He is worshipped by the eternal maintainers of the creation, who offer him the paraphernalia of worship by touching their millions of helmets to his feet. Yes, this is the Aishwarya Bhav, that the agents or the administrators, they are always glorifying Krishna. They're always glorifying singing his stutis, and always they are bowing down and touching his feet. But is this the mood that Krishna enjoys? This is the mood of the Lord in his expansion as Vaikuntanath. He accepts the mood of awe and reverence. But how does Krishna accept? Krishna accepts when someone gives him bad words. This is the Vrindavan mood. In Vrindavan, they call him all kinds of words. They call him chor, makhan chor. Can you imagine? You say someone calling you chor. Does it sound nice? No one likes it. But everyone in Vrindavan, they call him chor. And in Krishna doesn't mind it. There is one deity in Rajasthan which is called Rancho Rai. He ran away from the battlefield. So running away from the battlefield, just imagine, no one likes it, but Krishna accepts it. Krishna is the charioteer of Partha. Somebody very low position. He was the king of Dwarka, but then he still took the position of Sarthi for his dear devotee of the Lord. Ras Khan, he was a great devotee in Vrindavan. His name was Ras Khan. And he wrote a very beautiful bhajan. I'll just I'll just read that out. It's very interesting. Yeah. Ras Khan says, Ses Ganesh Mahesh Dinesh Suresh Sahu Jahir Nirantar Gave. Says Ganesh, Mahesh, they're all Nirantar, they are singing the glories of Krishna, just as it is mentioned here. Jahi Anadi Ananta Akanda Ached Abhed Subhed Patay. That the Lord is Akhanda, He's Ananta, He's Ached, He's Abhed. Narad se Sukha Vyasa Rate Pachi Hare Tahu Puni Par Na Paye. Narad, Vyasa, they are all singing glories of the Lord. But what this Krishna is doing, then he says in this last line, Tahi ahir ki chohriya chachiya bari chach mein nach nachave, which means just for a glass of chas, this Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is made to dance by the gopis of Vrindavan. The gopis of Vrindavan make him dance, and then they say, okay, you want charge? No problem. Pehla tum nacho. First you dance, then bhari charge mein nach nachai. Then I will give you charge. So this Supreme Personality of Godhead, so all these administrators are worshipping his feet, calling out stutis and this and that. The simple gopis of Vrindavan are making him dance just for a glass of buttermilk. So this understanding is possible by Rasika Bhaktas, and specifically Bhaktas who are in the Raganuga stage of Bhakti, where they are completely immersed in love for Krishna. And this is how they understand who Krishna is. And Krishna then reciprocates with them. This is the understanding. So let's go to now, I think this was 21, the last verse, 22. So we'll read the translation of 22.
Yes, Prabhu. Therefore, O Vidura, does it not pain us, his servitors, when we remember that he, that is the Lord Krishna, used to stand before King Ugrasen, who was sitting on the royal throne and used to submit explanations before him, saying, "O my Lord, please let it be known to you." Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Sushil Prabhu. Therefore, O Vidurat, does it not pain us, his servitors, when we remember that he, Lord Krishna, used to stand before King Ugrasen, who was sitting on the royal throne and used to submit explanations before him, saying, "Oh my Lord, please let it be known to you." This is Krishna's wonderful humility. Though being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he used to, as a as a as a member of the dynasty, he would behave in the normal way, and he used to come to King Ugrasen because he was the king, and then he would explain to the king, and then he would call the king also, "Oh my lord, please let it be known to you." So this Krishna's reciprocation that Krishna was managing within the assembly was actually to show that no wonder what your position is. When it comes to being with the devotees, I make my position secondary and I do what is the need of that moment. So he was behaving this way. Even if you see in Dwarka also, when Krishna was there as the king, he would listen to all his subjects and he would do all his duties perfectly as a Grahastha householder. So he was like a perfect gentleman. He was like a perfect Grahastha. He was like a perfect friend. He was like the perfect enemy also, if you can say. So Krishna was perfect in all situations. Even as Parthasarathi, it is mentioned that he was such a wonderful chariot driver that every time that Arjuna would come out of the chariot, Krishna would go first and then give his hand, and then as the hand would be like the step, and then Arjuna would put his feet and then come down. At that time, you would never see Arjuna saying, "Nee, nee, Prabhuji, Krishna, nee, nee, don't give your hand. I cannot do this." No, all this drama would not be there. Arjuna would allow this because he knew that Krishna is enjoying doing this service. And that way Arjun would reciprocate. And so this Adhan Pradhan or this reciprocation relationship is what is bhakti. And it is the most enchanting and the most beautiful. And that is what this whole of Srimad Bhagavatam is. And this is what Uddhava is telling Vidura, that how is it? Doesn't it pain the servitors when we remember all of this? That how Krishna being in such a position is doing all this. In one sense, yes, it pains, but in other sense, it's also giving great joy. And this is what generally we understand. Even with the pastimes of Krishna as Damodar, we understand this. Krishna is being the supreme person. But then Yashoda Mai comes with the stick. And Krishna is so fearful. It is mentioned in this beautiful book by Shivra Maharaj that Krishna actually got fearful when he saw the stick. He forgot that he is the Supreme Personality. And this is what Krishna's love overtakes his position amidst his devotees. And this is what we understand. That how bhakti is so sweet. That Krishna, whatever his position must be, he doesn't, in Vrindavan, this position is not there at all. Krishna is just like a friend. Krishna is just like as a cowherd boy. Krishna is just like a small child that is waiting for protection from his parents like Nanda Baba and Yashoda. So these are all this understanding is only possible when we actually with devotees, and this clarity becomes more and more clear when we actually get involved with bhakti and by being associated with the parampara system. Just by that touch of that parampara system, then everything becomes very clear, and then there is no ambiguity, no doubt whatsoever, and our eternal dormant love that we have for Krishna, that will get manifested, and that is what is important, and that is why we are doing all this. All these discussions, all these classes are only meant for all of us to increase our taste in Krishna's service. And that is possible when we are seeing the chanting, the taste in the chanting. And that is the most important. So with this, I think it's 11:25. We have a nice devotee also who's come. So, Hare Krishna. So any questions, or then maybe a few minutes we can take.
Hare Krishna. Fantastic, Prabhu. Excellent class. Thank you so much. Wonderful
Hare Krishna.
explanation.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Anybody has any question? Sushil Prabhu, Rao Prabhu.
One question I had, in one of the places we were seeing that though somebody is hating Krishna and Krishna kills them,
Yeah.
they join Krishna. So what does that signify, Prabhuji?
How merciful is Krishna? How merciful the Lord is that He doesn't take those offenses, which actually gives us a great hope. What rascals we are. How much of aparadh we have done. We have no love for Krishna. We have no taste for Krishna's holy name. We have no taste for being with devotees. But when we see all of this, oh, the Lord is so kind. That's why Krishna is called Karuna Sindhu. His Karuna is like the Sindhu. Sindhu is the Sagar, great Sagar, the ocean. Why is the ocean being described here? Is because the depth and the breadth is unlimited. Similarly, Krishna's Karuna is also unlimited. So we have this great hope. Oh, that such demons, they came to kill Krishna. At least these demons had some capacity to even think of killing Krishna. But for us, that is not is not possible from our side. That we can even think of killing Krishna. But we can kill the demons within our hearts. At least that we can do. And that is possible by the process of the holy name. That is why the Lord's holy name is more merciful than the Lord Himself. The Lord's holy name is so powerful than the Lord Himself. We can see from the example of Lord Rama when he was in that Tula bar. He was sitting and he was going down, and they had to bring the Tula in the same thing. So they put the name of the Lord there, and then it became equal, which means that the Lord's name is very, very powerful. And we are great fortune that in this age of Kali, we got this Harinam that we have. So when we take this process of chanting properly, then we will be so nicely situated. And this is what gives us great hope. It is just how we read the first verse of text 17, which Uddhava was adbhutam, amazed by this wonderful quality of Krishna. Similarly, we can all see ourselves, how we are amazed by what changes has happened to us 2 months, 2 years back, or 3 years back, or 5 years back, isn't it? Haven't we seen changes within us?
Yes, Prabhuji.
We have seen the changes within us. And that process has come in because of the chanting of the holy name. Yeah, okay. There is one devotee also. He's Sunil Madhav. He also wants to add something.
Prabhu, even some people hate Krishna, and when Krishna came, they merged with the Lord. That was your question, right? Sorry, Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Also, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, okay, everything emanates from him, whether it's a spiritual energy or material energy. Okay, Aham Sarvasva Prabho, Matha Sarva Pravartate, Iti Matva Bhajante Mat. In that sloka, he mentioned everything. So, whether the living entity or non-living entity, everything emanates from his energy. And when your time is finished, whether Krishna kill you or Kala kill you, so that also goes back to his body. Okay. So even, but here Krishna is very merciful because when he touch or any devotee, when people sees him, when they leave the body, they get a preference that they go back to his planet. So that is added advantage. Okay, and since he is a supreme father, okay, so a father has 5 kids. Some are good, some are bad, but father loves everyone. Correct. So we are also part and parcel of his. So when we leave, whether he keeps us or this, we also go back to God. Okay. But since they saw Krishna physically or Krishna killed them, so they get that added benefit. but they get other moksha. It's not like the supreme moksha. They get other moksha, and then they again get a body. They have to purify. Then they go back to Godhead. But they have some advantages. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So, Vrajajana Prabhu and even Sunil Madhav Prabhu, thank you very much. Raja Prabhu, we want you to come regularly. So, please make yourself available at least one Saturday every month.
Every month they want to for one Saturday.
Hare Krishna.
There is something blocking the camera. Yeah, okay.
Sorry, because it's time now for feeding mummy. My wife is in Vrindavan, and I've been given the service of taking care of my mother-in-law.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay.
So that is why I have to offer now and immediately quick offering to Krishna.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay.
Krishna, don't take much time to eat. Immediate eat and then I can serve Mama.
So let's wrap up the class, Prabhu, with the Vaishnava Pranam Mantra. Thank
Hare
you
Krishna.
very much, and thank you all for joining. We'll chant the Vaishnava Pranam Mantra. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo ananta koti vaishnav vrinda ki Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you again, Prabhu, for giving this
Thank you.
opportunity.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Nanda Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.